Hi all. Thanks to an amazing community contribution from GitHub user eitsupi, there are now R bindings for GlareDB. This means that you can write queries to join data across a whole bunch of different data sources and use the power of R to analyze them. In this video, we'll walk through the GlareDB R bindings and show you how to get started with installation, some different ways that you can use them to read and output data, and a couple of tips, tricks, and gotchas that you might encounter along the way. Let's get started. So in case you're not familiar, R is a programming language for working with data. It provides some really impressive capabilities around stats and data visualization. R was inspired by a precursor language called S, which was in turn inspired by a language called APL, which I recommend checking out as a curiosity because it uses some really amazing symbols for its operators and is, I think, pretty powerful and capable of a bunch of different things. But that is a digression. R is used in biostats, finance, and anywhere else where you'd want to do complex statistical work around data. So it makes sense that you'd want to use GlareDB and R to pull in data from all of your data sources. Snowflake, Postgres, BigQuery, ClickHouse, cloud-based or local Parquet or JSON files. You can join any of them together for analysis by pulling the data into R with SQL using GlareDB. So let's dive right into the practical. I will have a link to this script below so you can follow along over there. But just to begin, you can install the R bindings with the following. So you'll set your environment variable not cran to true, and then you're going to install packages and install R from the R multiverse. Once installed, GlareDB can be used inside your R code by importing the GlareDB package and creating a connection using GlareDB Connect. So you can import it with library, and then we'll call GlareDB Connect and assign it to this con variable. And then you'll pass in your connection object after the query text in this GlareDB SQL call. And in case you're not familiar, we're looking at the results of our query over here to the right. In the previous snippet, the results are rendered as a GlareDB table in R. That's what we're seeing over here. But you can output the results to an R data frame as well, or a polars data frame, as long as you have polars installed. So it can install polars and then output things over here with this as_polars_df function. As with the Python bindings, the GlareDB connection object can take a file path for a local directory if you want to persist your data locally beyond the session. So you can pass that in right over here. And then you can create a table there. And then after closing your session, you'll be able to restart your session by passing in that file path. And then you can select from the table that you created previously. You can also pass in your GlareDB cloud credentials if you want to use hybrid execution or just persist your tables in cloud. So here I'm using the glue library for the purposes of string interpolation for my credentials. I'm grabbing my credentials out of my R environment file or environ file and then passing it in over here. As with the other GlareDB bindings, you can query data in lots of different formats and lots of different locations. For instance, you can query a local JSON file like this. And here we're going to output that to a polars data frame. You can also select directly from a polars data frame. So right over here, we've just saved this JSON file to this clickstream data variable, and now we're going to select from the polars data frame that we output previously. One gotcha here you should know about. While it's possible to select from polars and arrow data frames, and it's possible to render the results of your queries as native R data frames with as.data.frame, it's not possible to select from R data frames directly since they are not based on the Apache arrow format. It wouldn't be a GlareDB tutorial if we didn't show you how to do some query federation and join across data sources. This last example is one that we've used in a bunch of our videos, but this is the first time we're doing this in R. Here, we're joining NYC property sales data between Postgres and Snowflake. First, we're going to grab our credentials out of our R environment file. We're going to have to do some funny stuff with string interpolation because we have credentials in strings in a bigger string of our query. So after grabbing our credentials, we're going to use the glue library to set up our query. Do that first. And once we've done that, we're going to just pass it into our call to GlareDB SQL with our connection, and we'll output that with as.data.frame. And so you'll see we're using the read Snowflake function together with the read Postgres function and we're able to join data from Snowflake, which is going to be a whole bunch of New York City property sales rows of data. And we're using that together with a borrow lookup table within Postgres. That's all for today. Many, many thanks again to GitHub user eitsupi for all of his hard work here on the R bindings. It's been really, really fun to get to use them and dive back into R again. If you're interested in making a contribution, or if you want to see GlareDB bindings for a new language, or maybe GlareDB working with a new data source, definitely let us know. You can let us know either in our Discord, there'll be a link to that in the description, or by opening up a GitHub issue. Also, I will add a link to that in the description. In a coming video, I'll do a deeper dive into running a customer segmentation in R, which is like classic R marketing problem, using data that's joined from a couple of different data sources, all using GlareDB. Please let us know if you have any questions, if there's anything else you'd like to see around the R bindings or anything else. And as always, like and subscribe and enjoy your day. Thanks, everybody.